My daughter just gave me a new mobile phone for Christmas. Not sure if I know how to use it yet, but I can do this.
Wanna do me a big favor? Some of our favorite customers are too busy today to get lunch. Make timely deliveries and you'll be greatly rewarded. The first delivery is a double cheeseburger for Hamish. Take it to him.
Hey man, check this tune out.
Skills,
What the f did I just play?
Every so often, a game or series comes along that totally launches a wave in the gaming industry. In the early 2000s, there were many games that could be considered influential, but one that really stands out among the bunch is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. While there are many extreme sports games out by 1999, none compared to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The splash this series made was so big that it even drew the eyes and attention of Disney. This new focus on skateboarding and extreme sports genre of gaming would culminate in the release of Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure in 2003. This game had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater to thank for literally its very existence. The game was so indebted to Neversoft's creation that it ran on the very same engine as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Even though the game is a THPS clone, there is actually a lot to unpack about this oft-forgotten foray into the world of skateboarding video games, so let's dive in. Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure wasn't the company's first venture into the world of extreme skateboarding, so I'm a little disingenuous by inferring it as such. Especially in the late 90s, skateboarding was really kicking off into high gear, and of course, Disney wanted to tap into this new demographic. Skateboarding would lightly feature in particularly the Goof Troop series over time, and would eventually see a crossover into the video game world. Disney's first true skateboarding game was Disney's Extremely Goofy Skateboarding, and it came out in 2001. Needless to say, it was rough, the controls were clunky, the animations slow and janky, and the maps were pretty garbage. It used the Goof Troop IP to deliver some kind of demonic skateboard adventure with Goofy front and center. I guess it could provide some nostalgia for some, but it barely held up at release, let alone over time until today. Regardless of the quality of the experience, Goofy Skateboarding proved that Disney was at least paying attention to this extreme sport. Eventually, Disney would jump ship to another skateboarding game, we all know now as Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. Now, upon further inspection, it seems Disney didn't develop or polish this game. In fact, it was developed by a company called Toys for Bob and published by no other than Activision. So it seems this was more of a licensing agreement than anything else. This new Disney skateboarding game features extended universes of Toy Story, Tarzan, and Lion King, and the game is themed in Disney iconography. Now, there's no real story to the game, and is more of a fun romp through famous Disney settings with some tried and true Tony Hawk Pro Skater gameplay. The game is an absolute trip for adults, and for kids it will provide some fun times for those who enjoy these particular Disney properties. Fans of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater will pick the game up right away as it's pretty much the exact same thing, but regardless, it's not too complicated anyway.
Give me an end! Oh, that was some high quality block tricking there, pal.
Players will begin by selecting a character or creating a new kid skater. The kids are modeled after real life contestants at some Disney skateboarding event featured in the trailer for the game, and must have been pretty cool for them. In the game, however, it's kind of funny. The game was really a product of its time. Like some Tony Hawk games, there's a ton of customization options as far as the clothing and accessories go, and players can really play around with their kid skater to get something cool. If you want to play some of the Disney characters, they can only be played in their respective worlds, but there are quite a few. Some standouts are Rafiki, Zurg, and Turk. Once you've selected a major character, you'll find yourself in Ollywood. Yes, how original, such pun. It's essentially the hub world, and from here you complete quests to unlock new stages, to do more quests and unlock more stages until you've done them all. When you first enter Ollywood, you'll be introduced to the character design, which leaves a lot to be desired, especially when you encounter the other skate kids. Even though it's pretty abysmal, it is definitely worth a few laughs, especially with the voice acting.
Looks like I got me one of these mobile phones. Behold its siren song.
Hey man, check this tune out.
Thanks for the double cheeseburger. I was starving.
As quick as you're introduced to the characters, you also can't help but notice that Disney wasn't the only company licensing out their property to Toys for Bob for this game. One of the first missions you complete is collecting ringtones from various residents of Hollywood. The phone company Nokia makes a grand appearance in these missions, and it once again is a little humorous. All of the ringtones are the exact same lame tune that would only be found in an early 2000s kid cell phone, and they probably paid $2 for it.
What up? I got some new ringtones for my phone. Check it out,
After this mission, there's even more product placement and sponsorships. The next mission will have players performing deliveries for none other than McDonald's. It's pretty cringy now as an adult, but as a 6-piece nugget and fry craving kid, it makes the experience that much more relatable. Looking back, it seems that the devs would really take money from any big company that they could swindle. I remember playing this game in my childhood, and while I had experienced the greatness that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater at this point, the game still had a ton of entertainment to offer. Re-experiencing the game as an adult is ultimately hilarious, but also still retains its relatability through more so its characters, but I guess the whole experience still hangs on the thread of childhood. It can still be fun if you're older though. Due in part to the Tony Hawk series, it's easy to pick up and just skate around, whether that be in Hollywood to Pride Rock. The missions themselves that populate the various levels of the game are also decently well done. They're cohesive enough that they're fun and engaging and form a pretty faithful dedication to our beloved Disney IPs. Some of them are actually quite challenging, and even a few of them had me trying multiple times and still failing over and over. At the very least, and I think the levels do much more, it's a new environment to experience that addictive THPS gameplay we all know and love. These new zones were also pretty well done, especially zones like Tarzan's Treehouse or Pride Rock really do an awesome job at capturing that Disney magic. It's so endearing to do quests for Nala or Kerchak. Of course, my opinions on this game are biased and rooted in nostalgia. There are definitely some huge detractions. One of the most glaring drawbacks from the games are the controls. While it does control similar to a Tony Hawk game, they feel less responsive and fluid than any single Tony Hawk game, pretty much. For example, any button besides A will trigger a grind or a manual, which can be extremely annoying when going for any of them. Sometimes your character will straight up manual on the obstacle you meant to grind on. This also meant that you would go into either or when you didn't even mean to at all. On top of this, the character was extremely easy to balance during any grind or manual, which just makes the high score missions incredibly easy. Furthermore, the graphics were really nothing to scoff at and oftentimes just look like barf. The texture work looks like some kid went wild with a crayon. I mean, look at the character I made, it looks ridiculous. These detractions unfortunately really mar the entire experience. I mean, it's still serviceable, but it has not aged well, and it can be annoying to play at times. With all this said, I thought it was interesting when I came across this game. It shocked my memory as I totally had a nostalgia bomb go off in my brain as the memories playing this game as a kid came flooding back. While the game can play poorly, it still remains a decent experience, especially if these particular IPs, Toy Story, Tarzan, and Lion King, were part of your childhood. It's a game that's rooted in nostalgia, especially under today's standards, and it's hilarious to think that Disney sponsored this kid movie and skateboarding crossover extravaganza. The game still gave me a chuckle as I manualed, grinded, and ollied across the Disney worlds, completing missions almost monotonously from the difficulty of the game being so easy, but chugging along nonetheless. It's not very satisfying once you cross that finish line, having collected what seems like thousands of coins, completed a ton of missions, and snagged as many skill points as you could. But the game does feel you leaving like it was all for naught and such a waste of time. But either way, that's Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. It's an adventure, alright. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you played this game in the past in the comments below. And until the next one, take care.